The day my father died, I thought losing him would be the hardest part. I was wrong. The lawyer opened the will and looked straight at me. To my eldest son, I leave $1. The room went silent. My stepbrother couldn't stop smiling. Then the lawyer continued, the family house, the company, and every bank account go to my younger son. My stepbrother laughed. He leaned over and whispered, Dad finally admitted who the real son was. I stood up, ready to leave forever, but just as I reached the door, the lawyer shouted, wait. He pulled out a dusty envelope sealed with red wax. Your father told me, if my eldest son ever receives only $1, open this letter in front of everyone. The entire room froze. Even my stepbrother's smile disappeared when the lawyer broke the seal. Everything changed.
My name is Elena Rivers. For 24 years, I believed finding my mate would be the happiest moment of my life. In our world, a mate bond was considered a gift from the moon goddess. It was supposed to be unbreakable. A connection between two souls that nothing could destroy. And when I finally met my mate, I thought I had found my forever. His name was Alpha Adrian Blackthorn. He was the strongest alpha in the Northern Territory. Fearless, powerful, respected by every wolf in the kingdom, but the moment his eyes met mine for the first time, the cold expression on his face disappeared. For a few seconds, the strongest alpha in the world looked completely lost. You, he whispered. You're my mate. My heart almost stopped. After years of wondering who my destined partner would be, I finally had my answer. I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. For 2 years, Adrian and I built a life together. I stood beside him during pack meetings. I supported him during battles. I believed that one day, I would become his Luna, the woman who would rule beside him. But slowly, something changed. Adrian started coming home later. He stopped talking to me. He stopped looking at me the way he used to. At first, I convinced myself he was just stressed. Being an alpha came with pressure, but then, I saw her, Serena Vale. The daughter of a powerful alpha family. Beautiful, rich, ambitious, and standing beside my mate like she belonged there. The first time I saw them together, I felt something inside me break, because Adrian wasn't looking at her like a friend. He was looking at her the same way he once looked at May. Wanted to believe there was an explanation. I wanted to believe my mate would never betray me. Until one night, Adrian called a full pack meeting. Everyone gathered in the great hall. Hundreds of wolves stood around me. I walked in expecting an announcement about our future. Instead, Adrian stood on the alpha throne with Serena beside him. My heart immediately sank. Elena Rivers, his voice echoed through the hall. Step forward. I slowly walked toward him. Adrian, what's happening? He didn't answer. Instead, he looked at the entire pack and said, today, I announce that Elena is no longer my Luna. The room went silent. I felt the ground disappear beneath my feet. Then he said the words that destroyed me. I reject you as my mate. Gasps filled the hall. My body went numb. A mate rejection wasn't just a breakup. It was a wound that reached the soul. Tears filled my eyes, but I refused to let them fall, because there was something Adrian didn't know. Something that could change everything. I placed my hand over my stomach. My secret was growing inside me. I was carrying his child, and if Adrian discovered the truth, I knew he would never let me leave. So I made a choice. I would disappear. I would protect my baby. Even if it meant losing the only person I had ever loved. But what I didn't know was that 3 years later, Adrian would discover the truth, and he would regret the day he ever let me go. I didn't cry, not in front of the pack, not in front of Adrian, and definitely not in front of Serena. If they wanted to see me broken, they would leave disappointed. I turned around without saying a single word and walked out of the great hall. Behind me, I could hear whispers spreading through the crowd. She finally got what she deserved. The alpha chose the stronger woman. She was never fit to be Luna. Every word felt like another knife in my heart. But none of them knew the truth. I wasn't walking away alone. I was carrying the future alpha's child. The moment I reached my cabin, I locked the door. Only then did the tears finally fall. I collapsed onto the floor, unable to breathe. The mate bond still connected me to Adrian. Even after his rejection, I could still feel his emotions. Cold.empty.as if I had never mattered. I placed both hands over my stomach. A quiet sob escaped my lips. I'm so sorry, I couldn't protect our family. For a long time, the room was silent. Then, a warm feeling spread through my body. My wolf, Luna, finally spoke. You're not alone anymore. Your child needs you. Those words changed everything. I wiped away my tears and stood up. I wasn't going to beg that I wasn't going to fight Serena for a man who had already made his choice, from that moment on. My only responsibility was protecting my baby. I packed a small bag. A few clothes. Some money I had secretly saved. A family photograph, and the silver necklace my mother had given me before she died. As I opened the cabin door, an old voice stopped me. Leaving without saying goodbye. I turned around. It was Elder Rowan, the oldest wolf in the pack. His silver eyes studied me carefully. I know you're pregnant, he said quietly. My heart nearly stopped. Please, you can't tell anyone. He nodded. I won't. But you need to leave tonight. I frowned. What do you mean? He stepped closer and lowered his voice. Serena already knows. A chill ran through my body. How? I don't know. But I overheard her telling someone, no matter what it takes, that child must never be born. For a second, the world stood still. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. Someone wanted my baby dead. Elder Rowan placed a small leather map in my hand. Go east. Beyond the Black Mountains. Find the Silver Moon Pack. They still honor the moon goddess. They'll protect you. I looked at him with tears in my eyes. Thank you. He smiled sadly. One day, the truth will return to this pack. Just before sunrise, I crossed the border alone. I didn't look back. Because I knew, the woman leaving that pack would never return. The next time Adrian Blackthorne saw me, everything he believed about power, loyalty, and love would be turned upside down. The journey to the Silver Moon Pack took nearly 3 weeks. Every step tested my strength. Some nights, I slept beneath ancient trees. Other nights, I hid inside abandoned caves while rogue wolves searched the forest. Pregnancy made every mile harder, but giving up was never an option. Every time I felt exhausted, I placed my hand over my stomach and whispered, "We're almost there." One cold morning, the massive gates of the Silver Moon Pack finally appeared through the fog. 2 warriors immediately blocked my path. Halt. State your name. I took a deep breath. My name is Elena Rivers. I'm asking for sanctuary. The guards exchanged nervous glances. One of them noticed the faint mark on my neck. The rejected mate bond, he whispered. Without another word, they escorted me inside. The Silver Moon Pack looked nothing like my old home. Children laughed freely, families ate together. No one looked at me with judgment. For the first time in weeks, I felt safe. I was brought before Alpha Orion Ashford. Unlike Adrian, he didn't wear an arrogant expression. His calm blue eyes studied me carefully. You've traveled a long way. I nodded. I have nowhere else to go. He remained silent for several seconds, then he asked the question I feared most. Are you carrying a child? My heart raced. I slowly nodded. Yes. He didn't ask who the father was. He simply smiled. Then both of you are welcome here. No conditions and no questions, just kindness. After everything I had been through, I almost forgot what kindness felt like. 3 months later, the happiest day of my life arrived. After hours of painful labor, a baby boy was born. The moment I held him in my arms, every painful memory disappeared. Tiny fingers wrapped around mine that he opened his bright silver eyes, and looked directly at me. Tears streamed down my face. "Welcome to the world, my little Noah." The entire pack celebrated his birth. Even Alpha Orion visited. As he looked at Noah, his smile slowly disappeared. He leaned closer, then whispered, "This can't be." I looked at him in confusion. "What is it?" Orion stared at the strange silver crescent-shaped mark glowing on Noah's shoulder. "I've only seen this symbol once, in a book over 500 years old." He looked at me with shock in his eyes. "Elena, your son isn't an ordinary wolf. He's the last heir of the ancient lunar bloodline." At that exact moment, hundreds of miles away, Alpha Adrian suddenly dropped to one knee. A sharp pain shot through his chest. His wolf growled louder than ever before. "Find them, before it's too late." Adrian had no idea why his wolf was reacting. But deep inside, he knew someone important was still alive, and for the first time since the rejection, he felt something he had never expected. Regret. "3 years passed. The weak, heartbroken woman who had crossed the Black Mountains no longer existed. I had become stronger, not because life had become easier, but because my son gave me a reason to keep fighting. Noah was unlike any child the Silver Moon Pack had ever seen. By the age of 3, he could sense danger before anyone else. His silver eyes glowed whenever the moon was full. Even the oldest warriors treated him with respect. Alpha Orion often watched him from a distance. One evening, he finally said, "He's growing faster than the legends described." I frowned. "What legends?" Orion led me into the pack's ancient library. From a locked wooden chest, he carefully removed an old book covered in silver symbols. "This book has been protected for centuries." He slowly opened the first page. There was a drawing of a young boy, with silver eyes, the same crescent mark on his shoulder. My heart started racing. This is Noah." Orion nodded. "The ancient lunar bloodline always chooses one child every 500 years. He isn't just your son. He may become the strongest alpha this world has ever known." I looked at Noah, who was laughing outside with the other children. At that moment, I realized why Serena wanted my baby gone before he was born. Far away, back in the Black Fang Pack, Alpha Adrian's life was falling apart. Since rejecting me, nothing had gone right. Pack members had started leaving, their crops failed, trade alliances collapsed, even the moon goddess blessings had disappeared. The elders whispered only one explanation. The alpha rejected his true mate. Adrian refused to believe it, until one night. The pack oracle entered the council hall. She looked directly at Adrian, then she said, "You didn't lose your Luna, you lost your heir." The room fell silent. Adrian stood up so quickly that his chair crashed to the floor. "What are you talking about?" The oracle closed her eyes. "I saw a child. A little boy. He has your eyes, and the moon goddess has chosen him." Adrian's face turned pale. "No. That's impossible." The oracle spoke one final sentence. "Your son is alive. And every day you wait, he grows farther beyond your reach." For the first time in 3 years, the mighty Alpha fell to his knees. He remembered the day I placed my hand over my stomach before leaving. The tears, the silence, the way I looked back one last time. It all made sense. He hadn't banished only his mate, he had banished his own child. Without wasting another second, Adrian ordered his warriors, "Prepare the horses. We leave before sunrise. I don't care how far she's gone, I will find Elena." But he had no idea, someone else was already hunting us, and this enemy was far more dangerous than Serena. The moment Adrian left the Black Fong pack, a different pair of eyes was already watching us. Deep inside the shadow forest, a cloaked man stood before a circle of black fire. His voice was calm. The child has awakened. An old woman stepped out of the darkness. Her eyes were completely white. The ancient lunar bloodline has returned. The man smiled. Then bring me the boy. No matter how many wolves die. Back at the Silver Moon Pack, life seemed peaceful. Noah spent his mornings training with the younger wolves. Even at only 3 years old, he was faster than children twice his age. One afternoon, Alpha Orion handed him a small wooden sword. Show me what you've learned. Noah smiled. Within seconds, he dodged every attack. The warriors watching couldn't believe their eyes. One of them whispered, "He's fighting on pure instinct." Another shook his head. "No. It's something much older." Alpha Orion didn't smile. Instead, he looked worried. Because every new ability Noah awakened, made him easier to find. That night, a loud alarm echoed through the entire pack. Boom, the eastern watchtower exploded into flames. Warriors rushed toward the gates. I grabbed Noah and ran outside. Smoke covered the sky. One injured guard collapsed in front of Alpha Orion. "Alpha, they're everywhere." Before anyone could ask another question. Hundreds of wolves surrounded the village, but they weren't rogues. Their fur carried a black symbol burned into their shoulders, the mark of the Dark Eclipse clan. A pack believed to have disappeared centuries ago. Their leader stepped forward. His cold eyes stopped on Noah. "There he is. The lunar heir." He pointed directly at my son. "Hand him over, and no one else has to die." My entire body froze. I pulled Noah behind me. "You'll have to kill me first." The man laughed. "I plan to." Without warning, the battle began. The Silver Moon warriors charged. Claws clashed, growls echoed through the valley, the ground shook beneath our feet. Alpha Orion fought like a storm. 3 enemies fell within seconds. But more kept coming. There were simply too many. One masked warrior slipped past the front line. He sprinted straight toward Noah. I pushed my son behind me. The attack came so fast, I couldn't dodge. Just as the blade was about to strike, a powerful howl shook the entire battlefield. Every wolf stopped. The sound carried the unmistakable authority of an alpha. Moments later, dozens of warriors burst through the forest, leading them. Was Adrian Blackthorn. His eyes met mine for the first time in 3 years, then they moved to Noah, the little boy with silver eyes. Adrian's face turned pale. He whispered only one sentence. "He's my son." At that exact moment, Noah looked up at him, and asked the question that pierced Adrian's heart. "Mom, who is that man?"